Hello and welcome to my video where I cover some of the Imperium and Chaos Space Marine models found in the Space Marine 2 video game. Now, even with my vast collection of thousands and thousands of miniatures, I still do not own a few of the units in the game. Specifically Cadens. I don't collect Astra Militarum or Imperial Guard, as you might call it, and that's where we'll start off this video. So I don't have any Cadens, but I do have some Carskin, which are like the elite troopers, and I do have some Solar Auxilia. They're right here. So this is going back a little bit to the 90s, I guess. These are like the Carskin, the kind of elite troops that you would find, but it just gives you an idea of like the size of human soldiers, really. This is the Solar Auxilia. They're a little bit taller, but that's just because of the size increase, I guess. But if you wanted to see like the full sort of size, that kind of works. In the game, the Cadens are a little bit shorter than the Solar Auxilia. It's just the way it is. But if you look at the Cadens as being almost 6 foot, maybe a bit over 6 foot in some cases, and the Primaris being about 8 foot. And it sort of makes sense. There are also some tanks in the game. So we see a number of these. This particular tank I've got a Space Marine in. Not quite sure why, but I just have. And this is called a Chimera, and it's a troop transport. Please ignore the terrible paint job I've done on this. I think I dry brushed it metal in loads of places. Like, you can see all of that. I'm obviously going to change that at some point. But this is the Chimera, and in the game they look a bit smaller. All vehicles, including the Thunderhawk, look a bit shorter. I think I've mentioned that before. But this is the Primaris next to it, and it kind of works, except for it being a bit shorter. I think in the game it's a little bit taller. But yeah, that's a Chimera transport tank. It's got like a multi-laser on the front and a heavy bolter. And then you've got some las guns, and then it carries, what I want to say, over 10 troops. But yeah, that's the transport there. Then you will see Leman Russ tanks. Now, in the game there's a few of these burnt out, and I think there's one part in the game where these do drive up and fire the main cannon. This has a slightly longer cannon. I haven't yet built the Leman Russ with a normal battle cannon, which is probably half the length, which is why it looks longer. In game terms, this has a longer range and higher strength cannon, but the overall sort of shape looks very similar to the Leman Russ. Again, in the game it's a little bit shorter, but size wise it sort of works with a Primaris. Walking around one of these tanks. Primaris do seem bigger than all of the vehicles in the game. I'm not sure whether that was a size issue, whether they, if they made the tanks and vehicles, accurate, then it would have taken up more space in the game world and things. Now, there is a tank that is definitely shrunk in the game, and that is this massive black tank that's just lurking in the corner there, and that is a Bane Blade. Now, unfortunately in the game it doesn't really do this justice, because yes, compared to a Primaris, you can walk around this very, very quickly in the game, and it's probably about 4 Primaris length in the game, whereas as you can see on tabletop it's absolutely huge. It's a super heavy tank, so it's one of the largest tanks that Imperial Guard have access to. It requires a unsightly number of crew. I think maybe, I want to say over 10, maybe even 20 of the guys in there to operate all the weapons. So yeah, it's got a number of floors within it. I think there's like 3 or 4 floors in this tank. It can't carry any troops, I guess, but yeah, it's one of the largest tanks. It's not like a main battle tank like a Leman Russ is. This is sort of something special. I mean, I haven't even talked about prices and things of these units, but I picked up this Bane Blade for £60 when it was first ever released back in 2007. So in 17 years it's gone up to £115. It's almost doubled in price. I wish I'd picked up a few more of these. However, the new box set of the Bane Blade does include multiple options. You can only build one if you're really good with magnets and stuff, but yeah, that's the price we pay for kits that have multiple options in. There's more plastic and more sprues, so they cost more. But anyway, that's the Bane Blade, £115. It's a very big tank. The thing is though, these Lehman Russes over there are £42.50. So that Bane Blade tank is less than 3 Lehman Russes in terms of price. The Chimera over there, which is a very old kit now, that will set you back £37.50, so a little bit cheaper than a Lehman Russ. I've also got the a Termagant, one with a gun, ranged weapon, just for size comparisons too. So it gives you an idea of just how small these are. And this is a new Termagant. So yeah, you get a number of these jumping on one of the Chimeras, can take it out. Likewise, compared to normal Trooper, yeah. So these are the main sort of troops, I guess, for Tyranids. And you could easily see how these could, overpower the Cadens, but not such a problem for Primaris unless you're sort of properly swarmed. Then we'll keep with the Imperium phase for now, and we just look at sort of tech priests and things and engine seers. So this is like an engine seer that you would find about the battle barge and in game as well. But these kind of engine seers look after all the vehicles and the maintenance of all of those things, and they're kind of in charge of all the tech adepts and servitors, and as part of maintaining all the technology. You've also got these servitors right here. Now there's a part in one of the co-op missions where there's a load of these that are pulling a big missile, and these are relatively similar. I think those servitors don't have the big claws on, but you can have them as weapon servitors, and we don't really see any of those in game, which is a bit disappointing. It'd be nice to see some with like multi-melters and heavy bolters. I was expecting to see those in game where they were released, or they were bodyguard or something to help the Space Marines out, maybe, but that didn't happen. Then we've got an actual tech priest. Now there is a tech priest in the game, in the main campaign. Looks similar to this. He's very rude in game. Or should I say factual and to the point. So there's a little bit of that. I don't think they all are. Specifically that Mechanicus chap in the battle barge seems decent. But yeah, this is one of the tech priests, so they cover all technology, and yeah, that's sort of what happens in the game as well, doesn't it? So yeah, a bit above your normal engine seer and things. But that's one of those, and they are kind of like your HQ of an Adeptus Mechanicus force. And that leads me over to Chaos, which is probably the force that I have the least miniatures of in terms of these. I'm pleased that I did pick up a Helldrake at one point, one of these. So this is the flying, their flyer. It's like this fire-breathing dragon. I will say in game I think it's a bit longer. The model itself is quite short, but an accurate depiction. I would say also in game it's bigger than this one. It does feature in a co-op mission, so I would so it's definitely worth playing the co-op missions, for the Hive Tyrant and then the Helldrake, which I felt could have been in I'd say the main game. You can do the co-op by yourself, I guess. But yeah, Helldrake, fantastic mini. I would just wish it was a bit, I say bigger, bit longer. yeah, it goes around breathing fire. There is another option where I think you have just like a cannon in there instead of the flamer, but why wouldn't you have the Bale flamer? So that's the only real Chaos Mini I have, you know, that features in the game, really. There are, if you didn't already know, there are Thousand Suns in the game, so there's a bit of a spoiler, I guess, this video. So I don't have like a Thousand Suns Hellbrute or Thousand Suns Rhino or any Rubric Marines, which is what they're called. You know, I don't have the Flamers, I don't have those awesome Terminators, I don't have Sorcerers on discs, or those kind of cultists. I do have some Chaos Cultists, but not those ones. So the Hellbrute though, this is the Hellbrute that you could pick up. I always forget prices, but that Helldrake over there would cost you £52.50. If you wanted a Hellbrute, one of these, and this is quite an old mini now, these will cost you £40. And yeah, if you see that it looks a bit different than the one in the game, fear not, you can build it in the pretty much exact configuration that you find in the game. So with the big hammer and the plasma cannon, and with all the Thousand Suns icons and adornments and things. This is my Death Guard one, so this one is sort of gifted by the Chaos God Nurgle, so it has some growths and horns, and you know, obviously I've sprayed it green, and I've given it a multi-melter. But yeah, you can pick up a Hellbrute, and one of these features in the game. In terms of size though, I would probably say the one in the tabletop is smaller. It's much bigger in game, probably double the size, I would say, even. You know, considering that it's almost same size as a Redemptor Dreadnought. I think in game it's actually bigger than on tabletop. But I think the Redemptor is sized appropriately. And then I've just got a Rhino here, just because it does feature. They are a bit smaller in game, but this is my Death Guard Rhino, but there's plenty of Thousand Suns ones there, as well as Predators as well. I think in my Space Marine video I said something about no Predators in for Space Marines, but there is actually a Predator Annihilator. It features a few times in the game, which is nice. You know, there's Predators, there's Rhinos, as well as all the new stuff as well. And in a way, the old Space Marines, because you know, you play as the Death Watch, you play as an unprimaris Space Marine at the first part of the game. So there you go, not a huge comprehensive video, this one. It is lacking because I just don't collect Thousand Suns and I don't have any Astra Militarum, but I thought it would be useful anyway if you you know, like the Bane Blade and you like the Helldrake, and you wanted to see, you know, the tabletop versions of them. So I hope this video has been useful in that regard. Of course, I don't have a Lord of Change as well, which features in the game, and it just goes to show that even with my large collection, there are still plenty of minis that I've not experienced. What do you guys think of Imperium Mechanicus and Chaos or Thousand Suns units in the game? Do you agree with me with the vehicles and the tanks? Do you think that some things are bigger, like the Helldrake in the game and the Hellbrute, but then some things are smaller, like the Chimera and the Bane Blade? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down below. It'd be good to hear from you. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.